doing something shady over there. Like, what were you editing just now?
I'm recording.
All right, whatever.
We're recording. We're going right now. We're rolling.
Oh. Hey, I'm Scott, your chief inspiration officer.
And I'm Shady McShady, I guess. I'm Rusty.
Are you Irish?
It's Libel the Bible. I could be Scottish, right? Mick.
I guess.
Mick,
I don't know.
like McDonald. Could be a Scot.
I don't know. Probably not a true Scotsman, though.
No.
Isn't that like a
What would
logical
make
fallacy?
a true Scotsman?
Isn't that like one of the logical fallacies? Like when you, it's called the no true Scotsman.
I've never heard this.
Yeah, it's sort of like when you say like no Russian would do this, and you go, but Yuri over there is doing that. He's like, no real Russian would do that.
Oh.
It's like something like that.
Okay.
You know?
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
I got you.
yeah, I got you, man. So,
What wouldn't the real Russian do?
I don't know, invade Ukraine. I don't fucking know what they do.
I don't know. Are we talking about anything today?
We had a lot of laughs before you started acting
That's
shady.
true.
And
You know,
record.
well, in fairness, they don't really deserve a whole lot from us, right?
That's true.
We had a call to action.
Yeah.
We beg them, please go and comment on like our show, leave some feedback. In fairness, a patron did leave feedback.
Oh, that was nice of them.
But what's the problem, Scott? What's the problem with that?
No, I don't. Why would there be a problem with that?
Well, you were saying that you don't care about patrons leaving feedback.
No. So what I was referring to was something along the lines of, for instance, tomorrow I have Verizon coming to install Fios in my house. You know, I have high-speed internet with the cable company, but I've been a customer so long, my price has slowly gotten higher and higher as the deals wear out and the discounts expire or whatever. So I called them up. And I go, listen, you got this deal online for blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's for new customers only. I go, okay, well, what can you give me? And they couldn't come even close to matching it. So I was like, okay, cancel the service. Well, let's see what else we can do for you. And they sent all these other deals. I'm like, and none of them matched what was good for new customers. I was like, no, you're going to cancel the service. Like, you know what? Don't cancel the service. So I got, because I was bluffing at the time because I didn't have anything set up. And now I have Verizon being installed tomorrow. And then I'll cancel the service.
Perfect.
You know, it's just ridiculous, man. Like, why can't I get the same fucking respect as a new customer?
So this is what you have to do pretty much. You have to cancel like every few years and go to the other service.
That's what we do, yeah. So it's funny because I have a coax coming in from the street and I have a Verizon fiber coming in from the street because I've done this before.
In fairness, you don't even have to do that. You don't have to go that far. You could just switch back and forth between you and your wife. So like you can use your account, you can use her account, you can use your account, you can use her account.
Yeah, I guess we could do that, yeah.
So that would work also.
Yeah, that'd probably even be easier.
So getting back to feedback for our show that we are asking people for. One of our patrons left feedback that we asked for, but no one else really did. And I'm gonna be lodging my own form of protest. So I don't know if you've noticed, but there was no intro music to our episode that I uploaded today.
Shit, I did not.
Yeah. Well, you know what? So I'm going to start like punishing our audience little by little like this until the show is just unlistenable.
So wait, there's been no previously on. Now there's no intro music.
Nope.
Was there outro music?
Nope.
There's no music.
No. Just the show. Just us. Just us and our sponsor, Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
Ron DeSantis for president 2024.
Yeah, and he rightfully, I think, just arrested some elected officials outside Tallahassee Town Hall today.
He's paying the bills, so we are now on the Rob the Meatball bandwagon.
Anything else interesting happened in the news today?
So before we get to Donald Trump, the day we are recording on, I guess it's Tuesday, April 4th, Donald Trump.
2023.
Donald Trump turned himself in today to be arraigned on charges of basically falsifying like business records.
Nice.
But today is also the 1-year anniversary of my last cigarette. Actually, not my last cigarette. Today's the 1-year anniversary of not smoking. So my last cigarette was on the 3rd, and the 4th was the first day that I was smoke-free, I guess you could say. So it's 1 year today.
Very good. Really? Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, you quit on this podcast.
It's funny because I told you, like, I left your house, and I was like, I'm going to quit smoking, man. And then I came, like, the next week to record, and I was like, you know, like, I haven't been smoking.
Wow. I'm glad it's been a year now because, like, you seem much calmer, man. It's been a rough
Do
year.
I seem much calmer?
No, I don't know. But I will say this. So I've gone over the last 3 episodes that we did. I'm finally caught up. And the last 3 were the 3 that we freestyled it, where we didn't read the Bible first.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, man, I like it.
Do you?
I like the way it sounds. I honestly, and I could be wrong. I could be just being super critical of you. You seem more fun.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like you're having more fun.
Yeah. I don't have to remember anything.
Yeah.
So there's less pressure to be perfect.
Yeah.
So in other words, like you pre-plan, I pre-plan.
Yeah.
And I structure like what it's supposed to go
And then when
like.
it goes off the
and then I
rails.
try to like well, no, what happens is I get overloaded because I'm trying to keep up with conversation while also in my head trying to keep on the structure that we're supposed to be on. So it becomes like overwhelming to keep my mind on all those different things.
Well, I got to tell you, I like the way it's going. I think we should maintain it for a while. You know, until you get bored and tired of this, and then we have to find another way to like.
And then we
coax
do
you
something else, right?
Coax you doing something, you know.
Right. Well, listen, this is what you have to deal with when you're dealing with someone with obvious crippling ADHD.
Yeah.
You want to talk? Oh no! Before we talk about Donald Trump, which I do want to talk about,
Oh, okay.
I want to read the feedback that we received.
Oh, sure, that's nice. Don't call out names though.
What?
Don't call out names.
I wouldn't call out any
Oh,
name. Why
all
would I
right.
call out
You
names?
like you say you drop names once in a while.
I'm about to drop all your names.
Well, what the hell?
You
I
don't
only have
fucking
one.
shut up, motherfucker. All right. So
how's that cigarette switch roll going?
one of our patrons left this comment. Okay, fine. I'll offer my begrudging feedback. Oh wait, so he did the way he signed off. I'm gonna read it the way I think he sounds.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, fine. I'll offer my begrudging feedback.
Wait, time out. Why do you think he sounds like that?
He says he's from the Bible Belt. So I'm assuming he's like a country bumpkin.
I don't know, man. Someone fucking, this is why maybe some people don't like want to really get any feedback, man.
Hey, they know the show they're listening. Listen,
fine.
You can't marry a race car driver and then complain all the time that their job is too dangerous and you wish they'd get into another line of work. This is what you married into. Yeah. You got to accept it.
Fine.
So,
fair enough.
So this guy, girl, they,
okay,
whatever the pronouns, I'm not judging. They have to accept that I am going to read this in their voice.
Fair enough. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. I'll offer my begrudging feedback. I'm enjoying the freeform format, and the Patreon-only episodes are becoming good enough to be their own standalone podcast. The Bible content is great, but the chemistry between you two keeps me listening. Cheers from the Bible Belt. So, that was very nice. We appreciate the feedback. So this is what these are some of the things we're trying to get a handle on. Like, do we talk for too long in the beginnings of episodes, And I think we've come away with the thought that if we're having a good time and we're enjoying it, the audience will as well.
That's not the conclusion we came to.
It wasn't?
No, you said, I think we said, if we're having a good time, who gives a fuck about the audience? They ain't paying for the content anyway.
That's true. Maybe that is what we said.
Yeah.
It's funny how you remember everything that I say, but you don't remember anything that you say.
That's not true.
Speaking of misremembering and thoughts of convenience and this and that, Donald Trump got arraigned today.
That's so insane.
I gotta say, I see a lot of not good things as a result of this.
Yeah. But I see a lot of entertaining things.
I don't know. I think it's sad. I think
so sad.
I think he's definitely guilty.
Of course he is, right?
Of falsifying documents.
Of course he is.
He's guilty of paying hush money to a porn star who he fucked while his wife was pregnant or just like gave birth. Whatever.
We know.
He's guilty of all these things. Diverting campaign funds to pay for it.
That's what ultimately got him nailed, right?
So, yes. So, well, he's also lying about it. These are the least of his true crimes,
of course,
right?
Man.
So, I don't think people care all that much. Like, yes, the people who have chosen teams, like Team Blue they're cheering this on. The people that have chosen Team Red, they're obviously saying, well, what about Bill Clinton and what about that, right? But anyone who's reasonable is like, okay, what about Bill Clinton? Yeah, let's prosecute him.
I'm down
let's
with that.
prosecute Nancy Pelosi. Let's prosecute. They're all fucking
Go get
awful
Obama.
criminals.
Go get 'em.
They're all awful criminals. So that's the problem. The whataboutism, right, first of all, and your inability to acknowledge that your side,
That's my biggest problem. Because if I'm on Team Biden and all of a sudden, I'll tell you this right now, we had a local politician that I was a fan of, helped out a lot after Sandy. He was one of us.
Hurricane Sandy.
Yeah. What did I say?
You just said Sandy.
Oh, Hurricane Sandy, you're right. Seemed like a great guy. He got arrested. He was like caught gambling with like mobsters, like in back rooms of shady like social clubs.
So what?
But it's a crime.
But where are you gonna go gamble? You're gonna go gamble like
seriously?
Yeah.
There's a casino. There's literally a casino in Queens.
No, that's like video gambling. They don't have real dealers.
No table games. But no, I get it. But I'm sure that wasn't his only problem.
No, of course, he's gambling with mobsters. We get it.
And the point being is, so you know what I did? I went, oh, all right, guess he's dirty. See ya. I was a fan.
Right.
But yep, you're dirty. Bye.
Right.
That's why if Biden gets like that happened to Obama.
Right.
Fine, it happened.
Right.
What I don't like about this Team Trump side is they just never, nothing will change their opinion of this guy, no matter what he does.
Well, in fairness, again, the blue side isn't that different. So I could point things out about Biden, or I could point things out about Obama and their hypocrisies and their marginal crimes. Not so much Obama. I'm not really familiar with anything Obama necessarily did, but Bill Clinton.
No drama Obama, man.
Bill Clinton for certain, his whole foundation. There's definitely shady shit going on, all right?
Didn't Hillary kill a bunch of people, throw them in a lake?
I mean, that's nonsense. But there's definitely financial crimes involved. There's insider trading. There's something. They've done something. You know what I'm saying? That you can go after them for. The point is this. I don't know that these charges are worth the trouble that it's going to create not only now domestically in creating further fissures in this country,
Agreed.
I don't know if it's worth the trouble for that when there are bigger crimes that could have been investigated. Okay? That said,
all right,
people need to understand this. All things in this can be true. Everything that everyone is saying can be true.
Yes.
It could be a witch hunt to get him. But the charges could also be true.
Yeah.
Alvin Bragg, the district attorney, could just be trying to make a name of himself for himself within the Democratic establishment or progressive left or whatever by bagging a former president. That could also be true. The charges could be really, minute and not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. That could be true too. So all of these things can be true at the same time.
Sure.
I just wish people discussed it like that more instead of just this binary. In a world where we're moving away from binary, our discourse has become very binary.
Yeah, I've literally had people I've had discussions with, and I could be saying something. Let's say Biden, they took gas prices, his whatever it was. I was dogging Biden out about something, and they didn't really know my political standpoint. Right, so I was like. And then they mentioned Trump. I was like, don't even get me started on that piece of garbage, too. I went from, their friend to, oh, you're a piece of shit. Whoa. I'm saying they're both garbage. No, it's not enough. You have to still love Trump. Regardless of how much you hate Biden, you have to love Trump. It's weird, man.
It is
disturbing.
Weird.
Yeah, and listen, I guess I'm sure the blue is the same way. Dude, that's why it's so difficult for people like us to exist in the world, man.
Is it?
It is. You don't find it difficult to exist, man?
Well, what people like us meaning what?
People that can see it objectively, more objectively.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
I stay, not that I stay away from people like that. I don't know. I feel like I have a way of talking to people like that where it's not confrontational. Like, I could be around people while admitting that I'm like a real fucking leftist and like not get into any confrontation with them. I listen. I listen to what they have to say.
Do you, man?
I do.
Do you listen to me, man?
I don't listen to you.
Yeah, because you know what I've had to say, right? Do you know what
I mean, pretty much. It's been like, a 40-year marriage at this point. So it's like you've heard it all.
You know what, man? You're a chuggy Philistine idolater that's about to get smited. I'm waiting to drop that line.
I like it. That's good, Scott. That's good. So that's like our Donald Trump take, I guess. Anything else?
Listen, this could just be the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's more stuff coming down the pike, right? From other jurisdictions, from like Georgia, from
there's
DC.
The election tampering thing.
Yeah,
so that's
there's a
the
lot
thing.
more.
Like, if you're going to go after him, that's like an obvious one where he was literally trying to overturn an election. You want to talk about being a danger to this country? Campaign finance crime. You know what I mean? Like, what campaign has not committed fucking campaign crime?
I'll tell you this. I pretty much think the Team Trump are also the Blue Lives Matter team. I'm sure they're the same people for the most part. And they were big on, you remember Giuliani's policy, the broken windows policy? Sure. When, for those outside of New York.
Broken windows policing.
Broken windows policing. I don't know if that's a term used anywhere else, but in New York, we had Giuliani.
It is.
Okay, the idea was, you stop someone from spitting on the sidewalk, you'll stop them from raping somebody. So you stop the small crimes, and it'll affect the big crimes.
It's like quality of life, crimes that affect like the quality of life and things that you see in your environment. So like get rid of the guys who are like squeegeeing windshields,
the guys
get
who
rid of panhandlers, like move them off the streets.
Guys sitting on milk crates outside bodegas,
like,
kick that right out from under them and arrest their ass, man. It says right on the milk crate, like, not to be used in a
guys
fashion.
Hanging out on corners, like in their neighborhoods, like break it up.
So I'm gonna say, if you're that crew, if you're that group that feels that way, that's the way to police,
like you're behind that
type of policing.
Okay.
Yeah, then why aren't you behind arresting Donald Trump for the small crimes? Matt, if Donald Trump had gotten smacked when he was 10 years old, just once, maybe he wouldn't have turned into this fucking guy.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, that's like there was like a whole switch of the Democrats were the party of slavery, but then when Lyndon B. Johnson like passed the Civil Rights Act, the Southern Democrats all like broke away and became like
they leave that part out, they leave that part out. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure 99% of all white Americans back then were all for slavery, all of them.
And we've gotten to a point now where like the right wing is calling for the fucking defunding of the FBI because the FBI, like, the DOJ, historically, everything. By the way, has fucked like left institutions.
You had mentioned that the FBI has you call them a bunch of squares, that they infiltrate the Gretchen. What was her name? Gretchen Whitmer. Who's the
governor of
Michigan?
Gretchen Whitmer, whatever.
The whole kidnap plot was probably orchestrated by the FBI.
Well, that's not the only time that they've done that.
No. So I remember you mentioning this. So I was reading an article about something, and it was this. Basically, it was a very sexy, bosomy woman infiltrated like a left wing, like a protest activity or a group, whatever. I don't remember what it was, but it was a harmless group, and she started getting guys to come over and tried to get them to run guns and cocaine for her.
Yeah.
Like, you're an FBI agent looking to entrap people, and you're using sex to do it.
And it's probably not even, like, run. Like, when you say, like, run guns and cocaine, like, the immediate thought is, like, get in a van, drive to, like, Nicaragua. She was probably like, look, baby, can you, like, I got a cousin who lives in, like, Pennsylvania. Like, all we need to do is drive down there. Next thing you know, you're, like, transporting, like, arms against, like, across state lines, and you're, like, in prison for 20 years because you wanted a piece of poon.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. I can't believe we devote fucking resources to shit like this.
And
the group that she infiltrated literally was, like, Save the Squirrels or something. Like, it was just some, like, group that would never... It was just ridiculous, man.
Well, during the Vietnam era...
They outed her. I got her name somewhere. I wrote it down.
During the Vietnam era, they used to infiltrate like the Black Panther organization. They would infiltrate like student government bodies that were protesting the war, and they would like infiltrate them with like agents, and then like either frame people or like
stir them up,
right? Or themselves like create problems And then on TV, it would look like it's these groups that are like breaking shit or destroying shit, you know?
It's Antifa, man.
So I would not be surprised if FBI agents, federal agents were involved in like some of the looting and rioting during BLM, you know, stirring like that shit up.
Who left the bricks?
So
Remember
the
that?
point
People
is,
leaving bricks to throw through windows?
so now it's gotten to the point where the right is calling for their defunding because, you know, they didn't like what the FBI was investigating in a particular situation.
Yeah, Trump.
Right.
A particular situation.
I mean, listen, it's just it's all fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's all ridiculous. But let's before we move on to the Bible.
Oh, one more thing about Trump.
Sure.
There was a great video of him coming out of the courthouse. And
Where they didn't hold the door open for him.
That was my favorite part of everything I've seen today. That had to hurt. That had to be the worst thing ever to happen to him.
You think he even like processed that?
Yeah.
Maybe after the fact he processed it, like thinking back on it.
No, I think it happened immediately.
Yeah, you think?
I think I want to go back and look at it and see if there's any flinching of his eyelid or something that I could tell.
Yeah.
To give it away. I think he definitely felt disrespected.
All right, well, I hope he did.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see the new the hot bailiff? There's already like a celebrity from this. She's hot bailiff or hot court officer. Like there's a New York Post article. I saw it on Twitter.
Really? The Post is usually above stuff like that.
You would think, right? You would think they'd be there for the hard-hitting facts, but no. I'm sure she'll be on the front page tomorrow. Like every other newspaper will be like historic, you know, first time president's ever been indicted. Front page of the Post will be hot fucking bailiff.
We're going to get right back to the show, but before we do, we'd like to invite you to come visit our Patreon.
Each week, we discuss a new topic at the intersection of society and religion.
We explore the encroachment of religion onto secular institutions, such as schools, workplaces, and government.
In addition, we'll investigate whether religion practices what it preaches.
So, after this episode, head on over to patreon.com/Libel to Bible and join in the conversation.
And now, back to the show. So I do want to acknowledge actual human progress before we move on to the Bible. That is the next stage in our trip back to the moon. Talking about the Artemis program.
Oh, I thought you were talking about bang, zoom.
So Artemis 2, they announced the 4 astronauts that will be going up. I don't know why that's such a big deal. It's not like the 1960s anymore.
I think they're trying to recapture some of that glory. I mean, this is a big program, man.
All right, well, they're not really going to the moon. They're going to zoom around the moon.
They will go further than probably any human being's ever gone before, distance-wise from the Earth.
So they'll have that record, I guess,
they'll have that record.
forever until Artemis 3, or
if I understand it correctly, I didn't really read too much in depth about it, but I think Artemis 2 will be going further than Artemis 3 because Artemis 3 is actually going to get into an orbit and land. Where Artemis 2 is just, making a circle jerk.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, because the media barely fucking covers this kind of like shit, you have to be looking for it. NASA is planning on going back to the moon. They finished their first stage in November with Artemis 1. We launched like a ship. It fucking orbited the moon. I don't know why. Like, I didn't see more pictures from that mission. Like, why... My Twitter feed, I understand on the news, on like media, on like TV, why they wouldn't show that. But why wouldn't they, my Twitter feed, I'm like, it's filled with like scientists.
Like Nietzsche said, man, when you swim in the swamp, you're going to attract bugs. I don't know.
Okay.
Bleaches.
when you're swimming in a blah, you're going to attract blah. Thanks for that input, Scott.
Man, when you stare into the abyss stares back at you.
When you hear an hour and 15 episode and you're like, you're Rusty, how come you talk for like 45 minutes? Play back that clip just now.
I played some clips right before we went on air that didn't it did not portray you in a good light.
All right. So, you want to get into the Bible?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. So we are on Judges, and again, we're sponsored by DeSantis for President 2024, which is why there will not be a previously on for this episode, which is why you will not get the intro music, because simply you don't deserve it. I mean, you don't deserve it. You want intro music? Go leave us some feedback. You want a previously on? Go leave us some feedback.
You know, I have a coworker, like on my real job, that kind of like you, just has excuses why he doesn't do his job, blames other outside forces and everything. But yeah. So if you think that's why we don't have an intro song.
Oh, so you're taking the audience's side right now?
No, I'm not taking any sides.
Well, you're attacking me.
Well, why you feel that way?
All right, what are you typing?
I'm trying to access my. Don't worry about it, man.
Well, I mean, we're doing a show, so I'm going to worry about what you're typing.
It's not. It was for my notes, but I don't need it.
All
For
right.
some reason, it's not logging me in.
So, Judges 10, Judges continues, the book of Judges, and Judges are these dudes who Yahweh has handpicked to take the Israelites out of their cyclical sort of enslavement and subjugation to various Canaanite rulers as punishment for something that happened earlier. So now Yahweh's like, to teach the Israelites a lesson, he has them subjugated for like 40, 50 years. He picks like one person to become what's called a judge. This judge leads armies, overthrows those like particular empires that have oppressed them, brings the Israelites back to their glory until, again, being the stiff necks that they are, they fall into disrepute in the eyes of Yahweh once again, forcing Yahweh once again to have another empire subjugate them and continue the cycle.
So I'll tell you this: your anger at the audience forced you to give like the most in-depth previously on so far. So you thought you didn't like prep one. But
I'm going to edit this out then, because they don't deserve a cogent fucking explanation.
They're laughing at you right now. Like, look at this guy. Threatening us. So yeah, Judges 10.
See,
Tola
if I was a
and Jer.
smart ass in the audience, I'd go and leave a comment saying, you left a really good fucking previously on. You know, just to like rub it in.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
People are so disrespecting us. They're not even leaving nasty comments or stupid comments or anything.
I'm starting, not for nothing. Let's face it. You and I, we're kind of idiots. So, like, who's listening to us? They probably don't even know how to fucking write.
That's possible. They just happen to know how to get to this website and podcast.
You know, it would be funny if we're being used as, like, torture. We're just being played in like black cell sites. That's why we're like the #1 podcast in Ethiopia, you know, because it's like some CIA like fucking what do they call them? Like the black rooms or the dark rooms.
Okay, all right.
And like they're just like leaving our podcast on and playing them for like prisoners. They're like, no, we will tell you everything we know.
Put me in that burning calf or bull or whatever it was.
That's why they can't like leave comments.
Because they're
They're
all
all
shackled.
prisoners,
Their
yeah.
arms are shackled.
I'm like, what? Someone's listening in Pakistan?
Yeah.
Well, someone's playing it for someone in Pakistan.
So that brings us to Tola and Jair. What do we pronounce it? Jair. Spelling is Jair.
Jair.
Why? If it
don't
was
know.
Hair, would it be hair?
Could be Ayer. Because back in like the day, you know, and when they spoke these languages.
So Tola
Aramaic
and
and
Jair.
whatnot.
Jair we'll agree on?
Don't you remember fucking when Indiana Jones was stepping across those fucking cobblestones that were breaking apart and he had to like spell the name of like Yahweh or some shit like that?
Yeah.
He stepped on like an I first because that was like the way you pronounce like whatever.
Oh. So
Last Crusade.
we wouldn't have known that because we weren't archaeologists.
Last Crusade. Sorry to spoil that.
Yeah.
For our young millennial listeners.
So after Abimelech, Tola, son of
Abimelech,
Pua, son of Dodo, a man of Issachar, who lived at Shamir in the hill country of Ephraim, holy shit, rose to deliver Israel. He judged Israel 23 years. Then he died and was buried at Shamir.
And this is usually when the problems start, right? 23 years, he judged them, everything was great.
So this guy only got one paragraph, and most of the paragraph is the son of the son of the son who lived near a hill, near a town, near a place, near a county, near a country.
No, I think Abimelech was in the prior chapter.
No. it starts after Abimelech, Tola. So it's about Tola.
Oh, that's
Tola,
true.
son of Pua, son of Dodo, a man of Issachar who lived at Shamir in the hill country Ephraim, rose to deliver Israel.
Yeah, how come we don't get his story?
No stories at all. Man, it was boring. It was boring.
Fair. He's like the William Henry Harrison of judges.
I don't know who that is.
He was one of the presidents.
He was? Of presidents of what?
Of the United States of America. William Henry Harrison.
Was he ever indicted for a crime? No? All right.
No.
Because I'm just wondering what other presidents of the United States have ever been indicted for crimes. You know?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Washington? Was Washington ever indicted?
He should have been. They should have locked his ass up. Them leeches and the bloodletting, all that crap. After him came Jair, the Gileadite, who judged Israel 22 years. He had 30 sons who rode on 30 donkeys, and they had 30 towns, which are in the land of Gilead, and are called Havoth Jair to this day. Jair died and was buried in Canaan.
He has 30 sons for 30 daughters.
Isn't that like the riddle?
That was like some kind of like musical, 7 sons for 7 daughters or something like that.
But there was like a riddle, like I'm on my way to the market. I passed 30 wives on 30 horses, and it's like in Die Hard 3.
Yeah. By the way, he's been judging the Israelites. He's been judging them for 22 years. That must be exhausting because you and I, we've only been judging them for a year, and we're already exhausted from
Why
it.
the term judge?
I don't know.
Maybe that's why they say these people have a complex.
Well,
like they,
Because here's what I'm assuming. We know how stiff-necked these fucks are, even though the instructions have been clearly laid out for them. Regardless of like all the contradictions and the impossible fucking to follow like directions and laws, It's all been laid out for them, but yet there's probably still constant fucking disputes and like ignoring of the laws, which is the reason why they have to constantly be subjugated to be saved by a judge. So they're called judges because they probably settle like all of these disputes, and as a result, they're able to keep these people in line.
Gotcha.
But then when they die, the next judge is probably like, he talks like you. They're like, they come to him and they're like, and then the judge is like, let me tell you something.
Well, these two guys, they kept the peace for 45 years. It doesn't seem like there was any collapse in between them.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, his 30 sons that rode on 30 donkeys, how long did it take them to realize they needed 30 donkeys? Like, do you think they all tried riding one donkey first? And they realized
because they all didn't appear at once. I'm assuming, like, although back then, you had concubines and
But you don't ride a donkey until your donkey riding age. So it's not like you're born onto a donkey.
Yeah, so if a kid is born and 5 is the donkey riding age, when they're 5, they get a donkey. Right. The other kid doesn't have a donkey.
All right. Do you think they had to get 30 donkeys? Because one of the kids was like, Dad, why does he get a donkey and I don't have a donkey?
You think they were hand-me-down donkeys? You think like one kid outgrew like a donkey and passed it down?
Sure.
And then got like a new donkey?
Yeah. And they probably had to describe, this is my donkey. Donkey of Rusty, formerly of Scott, formerly of Bob.
By the way, I just saw an excellent movie with a donkey, and the donkey was like central to the plot of the movie.
Winnie the Pooh.
The Banshees of Inisherin. That's it's really good. It's a really good movie. It was great.
Sounds biblical.
It was nominated for an Academy Award, I think. The guy from Minority Report, the guy that was chasing Tom Cruise, what's his name?
I don't remember.
Colin Farrell. He was in it. Great movie.
Stewie kills him in Family Guy for wearing a wool cap.
I know. He's standing like on the corner, right? He's like, "You're a douche."
I just have to kill you.
Yeah, it's a fucking great movie. So I recommend it. The Banshees of Inisherin. Really good movie.
So I'm going to say this about Tola and Jair. You know what? Just a paragraph on each of them and nothing exciting going on, but at least they made the record books. You know what? That's just, it's honor just to be mentioned. They're winners just to be mentioned. All right.
It's like having your name on the Stanley Cup.
Exactly. Even if you were just like the guy, I don't know, the water guy. Does the water boy get on the Stanley Cup?
Nah.
So
you gotta play.
Like baseball, like you get, like everybody gets a ring, right? Like 1,000 people get a World Series ring if you win.
Well, you get a ring if you win the Stanley Cup. Everyone gets a ring.
Oh, okay.
You actually
get
get
a ring.
your
I didn't know they get
name
rings.
etched into the Stanley Cup. Like if you played on
the Stanley
team.
Cup goes back, right? The next, right.
Yeah.
You don't get to keep the Stanley Cup.
You don't get to keep it.
All right, I
You
guess
get
it makes
it for
sense
a
they get
day.
a ring. All right, I never knew they got rings. But it makes sense.
Every sport, everyone gets a ring. College, you win like a college national championship, they give you a ring.
Who's the ring company that came up with that racket?
Oppression by the Ammonites. The Israelites again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, serving the Baals and the Astartes, the gods of Aram. What?
Oh, I'm sorry. New Astartes. We haven't heard them yet, have we?
Oh, I don't even remember.
All right, I'm sorry. Let me
That's
let
right.
me let you read.
I mean,
that.
Baal, like I heard Baal like 100 times.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
remember that. That shit's been like etched into my brain. Astartes, I don't know.
Right.
The Israelites again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, serving the Baals and the Astartes, the gods of Aram, the gods of Sidon, the gods of Moab, the gods of the Ammonites, and the gods of the Philistines. Thus they abandoned the Lord and did not worship him. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he sold them into the hand of the Philistines and into the hand of the Ammonites, and they crushed and oppressed the Israelites that year. For 18 years they oppressed all the Israelites who were beyond the Jordan in the land of the Amorites, which is in Gilead. The Ammonites also crossed the Jordan to fight against Judah and against Benjamin and against the house of Ephraim, so that Israel was greatly distressed.
Okay, so it's not just the Baals now. It's the gods of Aram, the gods of Sidon, the gods of Moab, the gods of the Ammonites. It's like the first chance they get away from Lord, they go anywhere, in any direction now. It's not even just the lore of the Baal anymore.
I got to tell you, though, in fairness, you might just be getting fed like Fox News propaganda right now.
Sure.
You're only hearing always one side of the story. It's always Yahweh's side, right? And I'll tell you what makes me even more suspicious. We get like these long, drawn out like narratives about some shit, right? And then other shit just gets like glossed over, right? So for example, these people were sold into slavery by fucking Yahweh for like all these decades, but it doesn't really tell you why. It just says in the first line, the Israelites again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. And then it goes on serving the Baals, blah, blah, blah. But what does that mean? Like, what exactly happened?
I'll tell you this, man. Like, they didn't actually say slavery here, right? They just sold them into the hand of.
Right.
That doesn't mean slavery. That
Sure.
means,
But into subjugation. He sold them into subjugation.
And verse 9, the Ammonites also crossed the Jordan to fight against Judah and against Benjamin and against the house of Ephraim.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. If you heard the Ammonites version of the story, like, what are you talking about? They were worshiping our gods. We were invited. We were chilling. We were all having fun.
Right. Right.
Nobody oppressed nobody,
Right.
man. Fucking bullshit one-sided story this is. You're right.
So the Israelites cried to the Lord, saying, what? We're being slaves. No. Here's what they said. Okay. We have sinned against you because we have abandoned our God and have served the Baals. And the Lord said to the Israelites, did I not deliver you from the Egyptians and from the Amorites, from the Ammonites and from the Philistines? The Sidonians also, and the Amalekites, and the Maonites oppressed you, and you cried to me, and I delivered you out of their hand. Yet you have abandoned me and served other gods. Therefore, I will deliver you no more. Go and cry to the gods whom you have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your distress.
My mouth is agape. I love this.
That's a fucking plot twist right there.
Yeah. Go and cry to your other gods, bitches. I love it.
You don't think he's being harsh?
No. Because, not if. I mean, this is all true. Mm-hmm. Since this is all true, like how many times is he going to do this for them? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to let the bird fly on its own, man. Mm-hmm. So.
Okay, let me ask you this, Scott.
Yeah.
Since we're having this philosophical discourse.
Oh, is that what we were doing?
I mean, no. I'm trying, Scott. I'm going to try and pull it out. You ready?
All right.
All right, so I want you to think. Look at me. Don't look at your screen. The answer's not on your screen. Look at me.
All right.
You looking at me?
I'm looking at you.
You looking at me?
You're the only one here.
Right.
I must be looking at you.
Oh, shit. You want a piece of me?
Go come at me, bro.
All right. So, here's the question, Scott. God is infinite. No, don't. You got to get up on the mic though. we're not just chilling. All right. God is infinite. Okay? He's been dealing with these people now for a couple of thousand years. He's been dealing with this particular situation for about 200 years, okay? For a being that is infinite, he has shown a tremendous lack of patience. I would think, in the scheme of things, 1,000 years even, for an infinite being, 1,000 years is probably not a long time at all, especially if we're going to say, well, what about creation? God created everything in 6 days, right? Well, 6 days for God, but, it's like actually billions of years, right? So he hasn't really been patient for all that long in terms of the cosmic scale of infinity.
Based on what you're presenting, I have to agree with you. He's very short-tempered. But there's nothing here yet that says he's an infinite being.
Okay.
I'm not even sure this is the same being, and you agree with me on that,
I mean, that's
man.
fair.
You won't say it in public,
Listen,
but I know privately you agree with me.
Everything you're saying is fair. We have not been told that he's omnipotent. We have not been, we haven't been shown any of these.
Think about it. I haven't heard any stories about him being around for like 2,000 years. Just saying. Or he's in the bathroom. Maybe he's in the bathroom for 2,000 years because he's infinite. Everything just takes a lot longer by our scale.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you for pointing that out, Scott. So God's just basically told them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, I like it.
So they put away the foreign gods from among them and served the Lord, and he could no longer bear to see Israel suffer. Oh, so that was like... You
skipped line 15, man.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I'm sorry. So, verse 15, after he fucking tells them to go fuck themselves, and the Israelites said to the Lord, "We have sinned. Do to us whatever seems good to you, but deliver us this day." So they put away the foreign gods from among them and served the Lord, and he could no longer bear to see Israel suffer.
Oh, he is a compassionate God.
Well, he used like reverse psychology on them, I think. He's like, all right, go ahead. Go fucking pray to your other gods.
And all the women put a saddle over the blender and sat on it.
Well, it was their time of month, so.
Yeah.
Then the Ammonites were called to arms, and they encamped in Gilead. And the Israelites came together, and they encamped at Mizpah. The commanders of the people of Gilead said to one another, "Who will begin the fight against the Ammonites? He shall be head over all the inhabitants of Gilead."
Who wants to go first? You get to be the king.
Well listen,
All right.
But isn't that the way it usually works? Like, why does that have to be said? Like, whoever takes control of this town gets to keep it. I guess it
seems fair.
I guess it wasn't always like that in the past. I guess
it's not even like that now. Like in the corporate world, like you can be a trailblazer, you can get shit done, and somebody's gonna jump in and take credit for it and become like the president of the company over you.
Yeah, that's true.
Motherfuckers,
pieces of shit,
scumbags.
Fuck.
Yeah. Judges 11. Here we go. Jephthah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Judges 11, sponsored by Ron DeSantis for president 2024. Because people don't want to give us feedback.
Did they clarify, like, we have to do it at the beginning of every book? Like, what's the... we'll talk about it offline. The structure of it.
No, they actually said that we can talk about them as little or as often as possible. So I'm going to talk about them, like, fairly often.
Yeah, listen, you do what you feel is right.
Listen,
man.
I don't know about other people, I think Ron DeSantis, is... a person.
he's a guy. Yeah, he's he's
he's
down in Florida, right?
He's Ron DeSantis for president 2024
in Florida. He governs.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Jephthah.
Jephthah.
Now, Jephthah, the Gileadite, the son of a prostitute. Wow, like just throwing it.
That's fucked
Talking
up.
about his mother in the first fucking
She probably wasn't even a prostitute,
The son of a prostitute was a mighty warrior. Gilead was the father of
I'm
Jephthah.
sorry. I want to sing that. Was the son of a prostitute. All right, go ahead. Like the son of a preacher.
Yeah, I got it. It took me a second to, like, that was so poorly done. It took me a second to realize.
Really, was it that poorly done?
Listen, man. Listen, you nail it very often.
Was that tone deaf?
I think calling this guy's mother a son of a prostitute is
the son of a prostitute. I'm sorry.
Listen.
I I got music in my heart, Scott.
I'm gonna say,
I
listen,
gotta let it out.
You've got a style all your own. I just don't think it's right for this show.
Fair enough, Scott. Listen, fair enough.
All right.
Why critique me in private when you could do it on air? I agree.
Hey, man, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Okay.
What's a gander?
It's a male and female goose.
A gander?
A goose is the male, and a gander's the lady goose.
Wait. So they're both gooses, but the male is the goose, and the gander? I don't know if you have this right.
What's good for the goose, what's good for the man, is good for the gander, is good for the lady.
I would look that up offline, man. In
All
case
right,
you're
you
right.
don't listen.
In case you're right.
What percentage of fact checks on me would you say I pass? Like, what's the percent?
Can I just say a goodly amount?
A goodly amount. Okay. A large enough amount where, like, you basically trust what I have to say.
For the most part.
Part. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe the facts are a little, rough around the edges.
Oh,
but,
like rough around the edges.
the details. I don't mean the facts.
Okay.
But the overall, you're pretty good, man.
All right.
You got a pretty good rating.
How are those glasses? Did they get scratched, by the way, when you bumped?
Didn't, actually. No, these weren't the ones.
Oh, okay.
And no, they did not get scratched.
All right,
Because
good.
I've got that anti-scratch, anti-glare stuff.
Is there glare when you're driving at night?
I don't like to drive at night. I close my eyes. It's scary.
Fair enough.
Gilead's wife also bore him sons, and when his wife's sons grew up, they drove Jephthah away, saying to him, "You shall not inherit anything in our father's house."
So wait a second. His grandkids?
No. Gilead was the father of Jephthah.
Now, Jephthah, the Gileadite, was the
Right.
son of a prostitute.
Right. So this was Gilead's side
and
piece.
Gilead was the father of Jephthah.
Yes. He was the side. She was the side piece.
So
Gilead's
I
wife.
understand.
Also
These are
bore him
his
sons.
half brothers.
Right. The half brothers, like, get the fuck out of here.
Sometimes I have a hard time like following like lineage when it's presented like this for some reason.
The best part of it is it's probably not even critical to the story.
You got to create like a family tree in your brain. You know, I'm not good at that.
No, this will be critical, actually. When they send the son away, usually bad things come. So this might be part.
All right. So let's get it straight. So Jephthah is the son of Jephthah. No, wait.
Man,
Jephthah. I'm sorry. I'm going to start again. Jephthah
Really?
is the son of Gilead. Gilead had children with his actual wife.
yeah.
And those are the half brothers of Jephthah.
Yes.
And they're telling Jephthah, you're a bastard. Oh, so this is like Game of Thrones. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I got it.
yeah.
I got it. He's Jon Snow.
So Jephthah fled from his brothers and lived in the land of Tob. Outlaws gathered around Jephthah.
That's like the wall. That's like when Jon Snow went to the wall. It was like all like outlaws.
You have a lot of references to Game of Thrones, and you have very impressive details about it. What episode was it, man? Do you know that episode? You probably do.
What episode? That he was at the wall? That was the whole show. He went to the wall in the first.
You see what I mean?
The first episode of the
details.
series, he left and he
See
went to the
details?
wall.
See the details you got?
It was this whole plot line.
Outlaws gathered around Jephthah and went raiding with him. All right, I guess you get thrown out of your house, you just become a raider. Oh. After a time, the Ammonites made war against Israel. And when the Ammonites made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to bring Jephthah from the land of Tob. They said to Jephthah, "Come and be our commander, so that we may fight with the Ammonites." But Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, "Are you not the very ones who rejected me and drove me out of my father's house? So why do you come to me now when you are in trouble?" The elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, "Nevertheless, we have now turned back to you, so that you may go with us and fight with the Ammonites."
It's fun. Like they didn't answer him at all. They were like, anyway.
That notwithstanding, we're here
Yeah.
now looking to you to lead the fight.
Listen, you want to focus on the past. I say let bygones be bygones.
Go with us and fight with the Ammonites and become head over us, over all the inhabitants of Gilead. Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, "If you bring me home again to fight with the Ammonites, and the Lord gives them over to me, I will be your head." And the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, "The Lord will be witness between us. We will surely do as you say." So
Wait,
Yep.
sorry.
Yep.
When he said, Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, "If you bring me home again to fight with the Ammonites and the Lord gives them over to me, I will be your head." I kind of feel like there should be a question mark after that because that's exactly what they said to him, basically, right? So I think he's just repeating it like,
Let me get this straight.
If you bring me home again to fight with the Ammonites and the Lord gives them over to me, I will be your head? Like, that's how I think he said it. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
He's like, let's just clarify what you're saying.
Yeah, he's not saying it as a fact. He's like saying...
Yeah, he's like verifying this shit. Because you know these fucking Israelites, right, Scott?
I don't know.
Right, Scott?
Yeah.
I know you know them.
It's not all of them. It's just these Gileadites. The Lord will be witness between us. We will surely do as you say. He's like, wait, not one of these fucking rocks? Usually it's stones that are fucking witnesses.
Now, let me read this. He said, the Lord will be witness between us. We will surely do as you say.
Everybody knows rocks are witnesses. So Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and commander over them. And Jephthah spoke all his words before the Lord at Mizpah.
He spoke all his words.
He just read his personal dictionary.
And he's like, wait, is there words between? He read all his words.
Let's see. Oppression, leaven,
safe space. He was woke.
Yeah. No.
I mean, he was the son of a prostitute. Then Jephthah sent messengers to the king of the Ammonites and said, what is there between you and me that you have come to me to fight against my land? The king of the Ammonites answered the messengers of Jephthah, because Israel, on coming from Egypt, took away my land from the Arnon to the Jabbok and to the Jordan. Now, therefore, restore it peaceably. Oh, shit. We got like fucking... We got some battle lines being drawn here. We got like old world kingdoms versus new world kingdoms.
Yeah. See, the North does not forget.
No. Once again, Jephthah sent messengers to the king of the Ammonites and said to him, thus says Jephthah, Israel did not take away the land of Moab or the land of the Ammonites, but when they came up from Egypt, Israel went through the wilderness to the Red Sea and came to Kadesh. Israel then sent messengers to the king of Edom, saying, let us pass through your land. But the king of Edom would not listen. They also sent to the king of Moab, but he would not consent. So Israel remained at Kadesh. Then they journeyed through the wilderness, went around the land of Edom and the land of Moab, arrived on the east side of the land of Moab, and camped on the other side of the Arnon. They did not enter the territory of Moab. There's a lot of fucking details that I'm like starting to like doze off. I'm like, who gives a fuck?
No, I like this. I really do. This is kind of like you. This reminds me of you a little bit. Like these
meandering?
Guys said, no,
long-winded.
No, I was going to say detail-oriented, and you come with facts. These guys said
facts.
No, man, don't always make me for the way I talk. Yo, I ain't punchy, man. It's just the way I talk. These guys said, you came to Egypt and stole our land, and we're here hundreds of years later to take that shit back, you motherfucker. Yeah. And then this guy had to give him a history lesson. I like this. No, we didn't take your land. You were mistaken.
All right. It's all propaganda to me. Yeah. They did not enter the territory of Moab, for the Arnon was the boundary of Moab. So it's like all like semantics. He's like, well, so they're basically arguing over lines. Well, technically, this line was over here, and that line was over there.
No, I don't think so.
No?
I still think these are facts. They're still presenting that like we did not enter your land. I think if you continue, they're going to find out more facts.
Or where was I? 19. Israel then sent messengers to King Sihon of the Amorites, king of Heshbon, and Israel said to him, let us pass through your land to our country. But Sihon did not trust Israel to pass through his territory. So Sihon gathered all his people together and encamped at Jahaz and fought with Israel. Then the Lord, the God of Israel, gave Sihon and all his people into the hand of Israel, and they defeated them. So Israel occupied all the land of the Amorites who inhabited that country. They occupied all the territory of the Amorites from the Arnon to the Jabbok, and from the wilderness to the Jordan. So again, within the context of when this book is being written, this is obviously a justification for why certain pieces of land should belong to like the group of people that was writing the fucking books at that time.
But so far, this part, it really is just explaining to this Ammonite guy to back the hell off. Like, we might have smacked around the Amorites, but not the Ammonites.
Yeah, I understand. I just think that's less important than the justification for land. So saying, like, historic, because now they're discussing a time of not prehistory, but maybe the beginnings of history where everything wasn't written down. You know what I mean?
You know what I'm curious about? How did what's his, the guy, the president, the judge, Jehovah, what the fuck's his name?
What's the difference?
What's the difference? How does he know this history?
They don't know this history.
Apparently they knew it well enough to tell these guys.
Well, within the context of the book, it's like oral tradition. So in the book, like, parents tell their kids, kids tell their kids.
All right. And you know how you fact check stuff that's in the Bible? No. You just go back further in the Bible. And if it's in there, it's fact, right? Because I kind of remember all this kind of happening. Right. So this must be fact.
So now, the Lord, the God of Israel, has conquered the Amorites for the benefit of his people Israel. Do you intend to take their place? Wait, I feel like I skipped something. They occupied all the territory.
You're right.
Yeah. Should you not possess what your God, Chemish, gives you to possess? And should we not be the ones to possess everything that the Lord our God has conquered for our benefit? Now are you any better than the king Balak, son of Zippor of Moab? Did he ever enter into conflict with Israel? Or did he ever go to war with them? While Israel lived in Heshbon and its villages, and in Aror and its villages, and in all the towns that are along the Arnon, 300 years, why did you not recover from them within that time? It is not I who have sinned against you, but you are the one who does me wrong by making war on me. Let the Lord who is judge decide today for the Israelites or for the Ammonites. But the king of the Ammonites did not heed the message that Jephthah sent him.
Jephthah is giving this guy a major out. This is the history lesson. Acknowledge it and turn away, go home, or you're going to pay the price. He gave him a major out, and he didn't take it, and that's just stupid. So I'm wondering, did his people, the Ammonites, did they stir up a story? They made up some propaganda that the Israelites took their land when, in fact, it never happened. So, I don't know. And who is this god Shamash?
Why are you so sure that it's Jephthah that's, like, in the right in this land dispute?
Well,
and not the Ammonites.
Because Jephthah's like, no, that's not what happened. We never took your land.
But why are you trusting him?
Because it says this in previous chapters of the Bible.
Oh, okay.
What did I tell you?
All right.
Where's their book? Pull out your book. Pull out at least one story
right.
that backs up your side.
And
then he asked him, how come you didn't do shit for 300 years? 300 years you didn't do shit.
So that leads to my point. At the time that it was written like that in order to justify the land that they wanted.
Listen, man, why are you always like opposed to like what the Israelites are doing, man?
I'm not opposed to what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying they didn't exist.
Who's Chamash, though? This new god. I never heard of him.
So, Jephthah's vow. You want to go through this?
Sure. Let me scroll down. 29. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah. And he passed through Gilead and Manasseh.
Nice.
He passed on to
Mitzvah
to Gilead. And from Mitzvah of Gilead, he passed on to the Ammonites. So the Spirit is flying around.
I'm sorry.
I know, you're goofing around, but you have to follow along, too.
No,
man.
I can't do both. I can't do both.
All right. So now I have to reread it?
Listen. I know once you've gained momentum, it's hard to stop that fucking train, all right? I know. I got it. It's carrying a big load on its back.
It's like 64.
I understand.
You got a big load.
But you got to slow that shit down sometimes.
You went 64 episodes getting really cranky every time I interrupted you.
All right.
All right, what?
I start from the top.
On the first day, God created the earth.
No, come on. Start from 29.
All right. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah.
I'm not gonna do it. It's gonna happen every time you read it.
Shame on me at this point, right?
Start over.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah, and he passed through Gilead and Manasseh. He passed on to Mizpah of Gilead, and from Mizpah of Gilead he passed on to the Ammonites. So the Spirit's coming. He's coming for the Ammonites. And Jephthah made a vow to the Lord and said, if you will give the Ammonites into my hand, then whatever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return victorious from the Ammonites, shall be the Lord's.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I think he's describing the first glory hole.
if you will give the Ammonites into my hand,
Go ahead.
then whatever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return victorious from the Ammonites, shall be the Lord's, to be offered up to me as a burnt offering.
That's gross.
Okay, wait a minute. Whatever comes out of the doors of my house. So after he wins and he goes back home, whatever comes out his doors to greet him, I will sacrifice to the Lord as a burnt offering. You know what he's talking about?
No.
When I get home and my wife runs out, it's been so long, I missed you.
Oh, man, that's
I'm
fucked up.
Sacrifice her to you.
Whatever loves me the most or misses me the most.
So Jephthah crossed over to the Ammonites to fight against them, and the Lord gave them into his hand. He inflicted a massive defeat on them, from Aurora to the neighborhood of Manith, 20 towns, and as far as my defense, this is hyphenated over two sentences here. Abel-Karanim. So the Ammonites were subdued before the Israelites. All right, so Jephthah beat the Ammonites.
Uh-oh. I see the heading for the next section. It's Jephthah's daughter.
Oh, no, she's going to run out of the house.
I mean, I can only imagine.
I called this.
can
It
only
was a stupid
imagine.
thing to wait. Like, God already said, I'm going to deliver them to you. Like, you didn't even have to make this deal. He did it because he wanted to get rid of his wife.
Yeah, he's like, no, not so quick, Yahweh.
No, I need to give you
I
something.
need a favor now.
When Jephthah came to his home at Mizpah, and there was his daughter coming out to meet him with timbrels and with dancing. She was his only child. He had no son or daughter except her. When he saw her, he tore his clothes and said, Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low. You have become the cause of great trouble to me, for I have opened my mouth to the Lord, and I cannot take back my vow.
Stop.
Yeah.
So he thought it was going to be the wife.
I think that's my impression
Right.
before reading any of this. So yeah.
Why would he not think that his daughter might run out first? Especially if him and his wife have such a horrible relationship that he would want her dead, right? Why would she want to come out and greet him anyway to begin with?
Because she doesn't know they have a horrible relationship. He's banging her sister.
I see.
And like he's pretending like everything's fine.
Listen,
She doesn't know.
It's not really his fault. He was raised by a fucking whore.
No, and thrown out of the house and had to run with outlaws.
I mean,
so like
really.
his morals are not up to biblical standards. He does not have the high morals of biblical characters. She said to him, My father, if you have opened your mouth to the Lord, do to me according to what has gone out of your mouth, now that the Lord has given you vengeance against your enemies, the Ammonites.
Stop.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand
Basically,
that.
she's saying, if you made a promise to the Lord, then do with me as you said would be done with me.
I see.
Make good on your
Yep,
vow.
I got it.
And she said to her father, Let this thing be done for me. Grant me 2 months, so that I may go and wander on the mountains and bewail my virginity, my companions and I. Go, he said, and he sent her away for 2 months. So he departed.
So she departed.
She departed, thank you. And her companions, and bewailed her virginity on the mountains. At the end of 2 months, she returned to her father, who did with her according to the vow he had made. She had never slept with a man. So there arose an Israelite custom that for 4 days every year the daughters of Israel would go out to lament the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite.
It sounds to me like there's 4 days every year where these girls are getting freaky deaky. It's like spring break for them. They go and they fucking bang, and it's like, whatever happens on spring break doesn't really count. So like, you could do anything, and then when you come back to the real world, you didn't really do anything.
So she had never slept with a man, but she did, but it didn't count because it was this grace period.
Yeah.
All right, so let's rewind to like verse 34. She came out to meet him with timbrels and with dancing. What the hell's a timbrel?
I have no idea.
All right, who cares then? And bewailed my virginity. What does that mean? You wail, you're screaming out at the top of your lungs that you're a virgin? Like, what does that mean, bewailed?
She feels bad about it.
That she's a virgin. She didn't want to die a virgin.
Yeah.
Well, so she went out.
She just feels bad. Like she regrets that she's a virgin. Like, I'm gonna die and I've never had this experience. A timbrel is a tambourine. I don't understand why. What do you mean? Are you dubious about what my explanation is? Because I literally looked up what the word means.
No, I was saying before you said the word. I was saying about something else you were saying. Not about that.
Okay.
So wait, this poor girl came out.
Not timbrel. I'm saying the other word that you were using.
Oh, bewailed.
Bewailed. Yes, I looked that word up too.
What was bewailed?
Express great regret, disappointment, or bitterness.
Okay.
Right.
And timbrels are tambourines.
Correct.
So this girl came out of the house literally dancing and with
She's
a
a hippie.
tambourine. She's having oh my God, Dad's home. Yeah, honey, by the way, you're about to get burnt up.
It's like the highest of highs and then the lowest of lows.
I'm thinking after 2 months, why did she even return?
Why does he?
No, why did she?
Why did she return? Yeah. Yahweh.
All right. Well, if you're gonna get burnt by Yahweh anyway,
yeah,
like at least make him do the work.
But then he'll take everyone down with her because, like, if one person does something to piss Yahweh off, he condemns like all the Israelites.
Yeah, I guess. So we're gonna end this chapter here, and they're not gonna go into detail about her getting burnt up. We're just supposed to imagine the ending here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. That's bullshit. That's all I have to say about that. It's bullshit.
Well,
I want details.
I think the people of the Bible, they don't really want to, they don't want to perpetuate violence to children. They don't want to show those kinds of things go on.
So now is Yahweh going to make him complete that oath, that vow? He's going to make him burn his daughter up? Because didn't he do this shit before? He said something to kill your son, but then I was just kidding, just testing you.
All right.
So is Yahweh going to do this?
So just so we're clear, are you asking me if Yahweh expects someone to comply with an agreement that he's made with them?
I did ask you that, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a fucking rainbow or some sort of covenant.
I mean,
or some
Yahweh
rock or a
is-
stick somewhere that says it's got to be done.
He's a stickler. He's a stickler.
All right.
Let's get to Judges 12.
All right.
Let's get through Judges 12 and call it a night. And Judges 12 starts with intertribal dissension. The men of Ephraim were called to arms, and they crossed to Zaphon and said to Jephthah, "Why did you cross over to fight against the Ammonites and did not call us to go with you? We will burn your house down over you."
Can I point something out?
Go ahead.
Ephraim was the same town that went to the previous guy, Abimelech, I think, and was like, "Why did you go to fight and didn't call us to fight?" And he was like, "Didn't I give you enough? Don't you have the finest wine?" Blah, blah, blah. So Ephraim really wants to fight, and nobody calls him to the fight. Maybe they're like punks in a fight. Wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. Yeah, we're better off without you.
Right.
It's addition by subtraction,
Right.
buddy.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and again, why can't Ephraim just show up and be like, "Yo, was there a reason we weren't?" No, they can't do that. They got to start popping off right away, looking for a fight. It's like, "Oh, you couldn't fucking call us."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're gonna burn your shit down now.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason. But
I'd like Jephthah to say, "You know what? There was a reason. Remember when that old lady in the supermarket kicked your ass? Remember when that little kid on the playground kicked your ass? Just start rattling off all the times they got their asses kicked."
Jephthah said to them, "My people and I were engaged in conflict with the Ammonites who oppressed us severely. But when I called you, you did not deliver me from their hand. When I saw that you would not deliver me, I took my life in my hand and crossed over against the Ammonites, and the Lord gave them into my hand. Why then have you come up to me this day to fight against me?" I mean, that's pretty reasonable, right?
So now, did they not get the call? It went to voicemail, maybe? Nobody listened to the voicemail?
So again, here's the problem with this book. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would is there a book that wasn't included in the Bible called the book of, Ephraim? And in the book of Ephraim, they give their side of the story.
Yeah, it doesn't satisfy doctrine.
Then Jephthah gathered all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim. And the men of Gilead defeated Ephraim because they said, "You are fugitives from Ephraim, you Gileadites in the heart of Ephraim and Manasseh." Then the Gileadites took the fords of the Jordan against the Ephraimites. Whenever one of the fugitives of Ephraim said, "Let me go over," the men of Gilead would say to them, "Are you an Ephraimite?" When he said no, they said to him, "Then they say Shibboleth." And he said Shibboleth, for he could not pronounce it right. Then they seized him and killed him at the fords of the Jordan. 42,000 of the Ephraimites fell at that time. I gotta say, what if the guy just had a speech impediment? You know what I mean?
What if that was me? I mispronounce everything.
Right.
That's not fair.
Yeah. What kind of stupid shit is that?
Oh, let's kill the lisper. Right? That's real nice. Real
like,
nice.
who could say Shibboleth?
Yeah. And you could say...
They would probably like say Shibboleth 15 times real fast.
And it's Shibboleth or Sibboleth. Like, come on, knock it off. That's some bullshit. What I like to say, like, what's his name, should turn to the Ephraimites and go, whose house got burned down now? And the Ephraimites should have been like, "Oh, yeah, how's your daughter?"
No shit.
Because she got burnt up.
So, I have heard the name Shibboleth. It was the name of a West Wing episode. Remember West Wing, the TV show about the U.S. president?
Yes.
So there was an episode titled Shibboleth, and it was about the North Korean pianist who was performing in the United States, and they weren't sure if he wanted to defect, and there was no way to really find out because he would not be left alone. And the President of the United States told the story of Shibboleth in order to demonstrate we have to find a way to communicate with him what we want to ask him in the presence of others, and for him to be able to explain it to us. So basically, we need him to say Shibboleth.
Wow,
So
that's interesting. It's pretty cool that you remembered it, too.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they took that pianist to, like, the top of Devil's Tower, and they were like, do, 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 and then he'd play on the piano. Do,
Yeah.
do, 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 do.
You made the connection from the pianist to the Close Encounters of the Third Kind because...
They had to find a way to communicate, you said, with him.
Yes.
So they couldn't. They come right out and say, "Do you want to defect?" So they communicated with music at Devil's Tower.
That's a leap, man. That was really like, wow. Okay. No, I see the connection. All right.
I like to surprise you once in a while. the many layers of my onion.
Jephthah.
You like my onion, man?
I mean, we're deep in it now. I gotta say, all the outer layers have been peeled. Jephthah judged Israel 6 years. Then Jephthah the Gileadite died and was buried in his town in Gilead. I don't feel like that's a long time. Like other judges were around for a while.
Not at all. But I gotta tell you, he lived fast and loose.
For long you live and high you fly, but only if you ride the tide. And balanced on the biggest wave, you race towards an early grave.
Yeah, and you know what? He deserved to die young because I don't want history forgetting that this dude wanted to murder his wife and ended up having to murder his daughter because he wanted to murder his wife.
That was some fucked up shit.
Yeah,
man.
it was real fucked up.
Some fucked up shit. So is he one of the worst characters so far?
This is premeditated
like
murder.
Morally.
It was premeditated murder, except he ended up having murdered the wrong one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty bad. Because there was no need for it. Like, he added this to it. I knew it was suspicious from the get-go, man. You heard me. I called him out on it, right? I hit my buzzer right away, man.
Well, you are suspicious naturally of these people, right, Scott?
Ibzan, Elon, and Abdon.
Oh, shit. Elon's son?
Oh, God. He's from the Bible.
Okay.
After him, Ibzan of Bethlehem judged Israel. He had 30 sons. He gave his 30 daughters in marriage outside his clan and brought in 30 young women from outside for his sons. He judged Israel 7 years. Then Ibzan died and was buried at Bethlehem. Okay. He had 30 sons. And he had 30 daughters.
But those aren't really, those are like asides.
Well, he traded 30 daughters for 30 other daughters, somebody else's daughters. Yeah. Okay, 30 seems to be like a key number here because the other guy had 30 sons with 30 donkeys.
Interesting. Interesting.
After him...
You think it's just like it got to a point where they were writing the Bible and they're going through like public records and they're trying to get exact numbers. And they're like, you know what? If it's anywhere above like 27, 28, yeah, just 30.
Or the
Approximate it.
computers at the time only had so much memory, so it only held 30.
Right.
So they could have been 300, but it only going up to 30. So 30 was the
Or
max.
the typesetter, he only had the 3 and the 0 left. So like every number was 30.
It was either
Didn't
3,
matter.
0, or 30.
Right. Or 3,000, you know.
Yeah. After him, Elon the Zebulonite judged Israel, and he judged Israel 10 years. Then Elon the Zebulonite died and was buried at Ajalon in the land of Zebulon. So it's just a running list of judges. After him, Abdon, son of Hillel, the Paranthonite,
Yep.
judged Israel. He had 40 sons.
Oh,
there you
shit.
go. And 30 grandsons.
The guy found the 4.
And the 7 because they rode on 70
Oh,
donkeys. He judged Israel 8 years. Then Abdon, son of Hillel, the Parathonite, died and was buried at Parathon in the land of Ephraim, in the hill country of the Amalekites. Okay, so it's just everybody gets a little short blurb, which is
Very
nice.
Interesting.
So
Very
apparently
interesting.
they don't get oppressed between every judge. Sometimes they don't. Yeah.
I think that's going to be enough for tonight. And by the way, I just flipped to the next page, Judges 13.
I am too then.
The birth of Samson. You think that's like Samson and Delilah? Like the guy with the hair? Like the beautiful flowing hair?
Yo,
Like me?
the statue of David.
Yeah.
Da Vinci did that guy?
No.
Who was it?
Michelangelo.
I'm sorry. What is it? Michelangelo. That's being they're giving shit about it because he's nude, right? Like somebody's giving shit
In
about
Florida.
it. Of course. Penis. Like
Yeah.
your governor's a penis. Like why are you so? Oh, whoa,
Whoa, bro.
whoa,
No,
sorry,
Rick
sorry.
Scott is a penis,
Oh, right.
but Meatball Rob DeSantis,
Right,
all right, he's running for president 2024, sponsors our show.
Am I to believe that same David is David of David and Goliath fame?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes.
And that's coming up in the book, right? David and Goliath's in this book.
David
right?
and Goliath is in the book, yes.
Sweet.
So this is Samson. I thought Samson was like a Greek myth for some reason.
I don't know who Samson and Delilah.
Samson-
I know the names. But I don't know
Samson's
anything
the
about
guy with the hair. He has long hair, and then that's where all his power and strength comes from. And then, like, when he cuts off his hair, he loses all his power. You never heard that?
No, not really.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't know that story.
Wow,
no.
okay.
Wait. So now we're entering the MCU part of the Bible, like the superheroes.
It
have
seems like it.
powers?
Well, I mean, in fairness, there were like fucking giants earlier.
Remember, I did not know Jonah the whale was an actual biblical story, and I can't wait to get to that.
Yeah. Oh, I saw like a funny meme. It was like Jonah is home. And his wife's like standing there, like all cross-armed, you know what I mean? And it's like Jonah trying to explain to his wife that he was inside of a whale for 3 days. You know, she's all like pissed off.
Yo.
Yeah.
And didn't they make like perfume out of like whale oils and stuff? So he probably smelled like another woman.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Let's save this for when we get to that, though.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. That's good, Scott. So,
Thanks, Rust.
I want to say to our patron who left a comment for us, thank you very much.
Yeah, no, seriously. Rusty's not sincere, but I'm sincerely thanking you.
Well,
seriously.
I mean,
seriously.
I'm glad you pointed it out because he did say he's from the Bible Belt. So it's nice to repeat things for people from the Bible Belt because, you know, they might not understand fully some things. For all we know, he thinks this is like a show like praising the Bible. You know?
Yeah, I guess.
That's why he loves it so much. He's like, oh, it's the Bible. I'm going to listen. Yeehaw! All right. Yeah. So anyway, in all seriousness, we want to thank our patron for leaving feedback. For everyone else, please visit us at patreon.com/libelthebible. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. If you search for Libel the Bible, we will come up. We have a decent amount of followers on Twitter. Please leave some feedback at us all you want.
And some money.
I mean, if you want to, sure. If you want to subscribe to our Patreon.
I got to switch my internet providers every year because I can't afford the rates.
So, yes, obviously check out our Patreon. We've got some good content on there. And I guess we will see you when we see you fuckers.
Bye-bye.